Jeff, Dust Collector was inspired when I was going through a time in my walk with God where I felt insignificant, I felt I had no place, and I felt that I was at a place of standstill. Nothing happening, nothing moving. I believe that many are at that place. And so the Lord came upon me, and the Spirit of God inspired me to write this book to show how in Genesis He took the least likeliest thing to make it the thing of profound notoriety. He took dust and shaped it into a man, and that man controlled and governed on behalf of God. He could have gone to a tree and brought life. He went to a dead substance to produce a living one. And so my life was at that dead zone, that dead place. And so God said, right from that perspective, right from where you are, and show them where I'm taking you, so their lives can be a mirror of that as well. Sabotage, on the other hand, is a book that is designed to prevent our lives from going into those traps and becoming dust. Prevent a life from being sabotaged, his destiny from being raped and pillaged by the enemy. So those two books kind of play off each other and play on each other in that way.
Talk and share a little bit about the significance of identity. I know many times we've had people on, men on a program, and they give a lot of information,
right,
and they even share a lot of words,
right,
but still leave on the table identity,
right,
to where people don't know who they are. And you said something about coming into the knowledge of who you are, how these men have poured themselves in you to get you to recognize with clarity who you are in God. Talk a little bit about the significance of knowing who you are in God.
I think it's very important, because I think when you don't know who you are in God, you find yourself being tossed to and fro by every wind and doctrine. There's so many times that not knowing your place in God will cause you to follow things that are not good for you. And when you don't know your place, a lot of times you don't know that they're not good for you. Because I can make it sound good, I can make it look good, and just being directed in God. I mean, the Bible says that the flesh is in constant enmity with God. They don't want to do the things of God. And they that worship God must worship Him in spirit and in truth. It's something about when you come to the point where you say, you know what? I surrender. Because the bottom line is, most of us know between good and evil, good and bad. You know when you're on the wrong path. Nobody really has to tell you. Now, whether you want to admit it or not, you know when you're going down the wrong path. You know when things are not working out for you. You know when things are not right. And you know when you're in that place where you're like, man, there's got to be something better. I mean, there's got to be something. I'm feeling something in me. I can't find it right now, but there's a reason why I'm supposed to be here. There's a purpose for me. And until a person really submits to God, you'll be that type where you know, I know I got purpose. I know I'm supposed to be here. I know I have identity. But until you find yourself in God, man, you really don't know who you are.
God's got a good way of keeping me humble. And it started even long before I even started medical school. One of the things that I tell people when they prepare to go to medical school, I say, if you don't have a spiritual foundation before you come, you better get one soon, because for me at least, I know that I could not have made it through medical school, into medical school, and could not have certainly have excelled through medical school without the intervention of God, without the blessings, where I know that in my own strength that I could not have accomplished it. And it seems almost that right before God would open a tremendous door of opportunity or a tremendous blessing on my life, it would be one of the lowest points where it seemed like I could almost do nothing. And I felt so, at some point or another, so incompetent, so unable to do something alone. And then all of a sudden this huge blessing comes, and you say, how in the world did you get that? How did you get one of 10 fellowships awarded in the nation? How did you get one of 28 Howard Hughes fellowships that were awarded in the nation? A nobody almost, and someone who's competing against other people with huge credentials that look so much better on paper than mine did at the time. And I know that my own credentials weren't sufficient to get it for me. And it was just simply God opening a door of opportunity. And then once he's opened that door of opportunity, then all of a sudden you look back and you say, well, now all of a sudden I have credentials. But I always am intentional to remember how I got those credentials. I say I have an MD, I have a PhD, but without my GOD, I'd be absolutely nothing.
I know that in this changing of the mind seems to be a lot of the challenges that people are going through. It's not their circumstances that truly is the issue. It is their mindset. The mind has its own conception of what they're going through. And I call it they're living from the condition that they're in, not the position that they're in terms of Christ. You said Christ redeemed them and reconciled them and made them one and whole with God. But yet they feel like they're experiencing a whole different life outside of God through the trials and tribulations and some of the things you talk about in your books in terms of the addictions and the things that ensnares them that they don't even know because of the level of unconsciousness that they may be encountering. How can someone who is operating at a level of unconsciousness come into this awakened mindset or this know that they need to have deliverance? I mean, help me to understand that in that aspect. And I think you write a little bit about that in the book.
Yeah, I do. It's called sanctification. And what that means is a process of growing spiritually. Going back to what I said earlier, we come to the end of ourselves as suffering the consequences of our wrong choices. And God, who is love, supernaturally steps in to reveal ourselves. Well, that's the beginning of our journey.
And to my children. So it got to a point where I was trying to get my oldest daughter to pray and read the Bible, and she was doing it to a certain extent, but I noticed that once she walked into the room on a random occasion and seen me in my Bible, that sparked something in her that made her want to read the Bible more. So as a result, I could walk into her room and knock on the door just to see how she was doing, and there it is, she's in her Bible. And I'm like, wow. So it just took her to see me do it, and I didn't have to ask anymore. She was doing it.
What message did they get out of that?
A lot of people say, do as I say, not as I do, but I don't agree with that saying. So I just feel like even as a parent, we have to hold ourselves accountable to a certain standard. If we want our children to do it, it's nothing wrong with us getting out there and doing it as well, showing them that, hey, I'm not asking you to do something that I haven't done myself or something that I would not do.
You have a strong support system. I mean, we're going to talk about this cultivation process because I know it hadn't been easy. Yes. I mean, you don't get here, without, it being some type of road or obstacles in your pathway to shape and nurture the gift of God inside of you. And so we're talking about that support group, starting with your family. Who are they?
Well, my support group, it lies firm with my wife. Me and my wife have been together 17 years. We've been married 10. And I would say that I was the curious cat out of my brothers. I'm the youngest of 3, and I gave my mother and father their first grandchild. I didn't do it the way that the word would say I should do it, but I learned that once I've made a mistake or something that might be viewed as a mistake, as long as I acknowledge that and allow God to take over the situation, that he can turn my situation into good. So yes, I had a child out of wedlock. Yes, when I got married, it may have been for the wrong reasons. It may have been because, I have a child with this woman, let me marry her. That wasn't my intention, but let's say, for instance, it was to a point where I said, you know what, God, I don't think that I had you involved in the beginning, so let me let you in to take over this and make this out for the better, the way you would have it.
Where I thought I was going to get kicked out because I just didn't have the money. I had zero. And just, go to the financial aid office. It was like, man, I don't know what we can do for you. But then, you get that call the next day, hey, a loan came up out of nowhere to pay for your school, and then you're back in school. And it's so many times where when that stuff happens, you just have to say, man, you got to start putting your faith in God. And one of the sayings that I've adopted now is just, me and a good buddy of mine, Glenn Griffith, is just, we say, now you said it. Now you said, God, you said this. It's not me making this up. Now you said that you were going to do this. And so it's like you kind of hold, I know it's kind of sounding bad, but God accountable. But I think he wants you to kind of come to, I know he wants you to come to him with all your cares and your burdens, because he can do that for you. I mean, he wants you to depend on him. He's all of our fathers, And we need to always make sure we can go to him first and last. When we have any problem in life, we want to make sure we go to him in prayer, and say, Lord, these are the kind of things that I'm needing. I need this out of my life. I need this to change. I need this removed from my life. And he'll definitely do that. And it's as long as me and God have this thing where we, what is it? The equation to success is preparation plus opportunity. And so I always say, I'm the preparation, God, and you're the opportunity, and together we'll equal success. If I don't prepare for whatever he has for me, I'm going to fail at that opportunity, And if I'm preparing and this never happens, God doesn't present the opportunity, then, it doesn't bring success. So as long as we if everybody can always do their part, God will always come through on his side. He will never leave us or forsake us. And that's comforting. It's comforting in whatever situation you're in, no matter how hard it may seem to you. You can come out of that. Just like you pray to God, ask for a plan, he'll give that in your heart, and then you just do that plan, which is the preparation part, and he'll pair you with opportunities to get out of that.
There's that, but then there's the fact that I could turn on the radio or turn on a record or put a tape in and be inspired by that individual to be like, oh man, I want to do this. I want to make this my life. This is where I want to go. But then I can turn on the History Channel and watch some special on George Washington Carver and be like, wow, I want to create something. I want to invent something. I want to be the first to do something. So I draw inspiration from life. Wow. Just living. Everybody that I come in contact with, you inspire me. The conversations we've had in the past have gotten my mind going. You know what I'm saying? And I think about that stuff. I live for life. And I'm inspired by every aspect of it and everybody that I come in contact with, even the negative people. Even the people that are making mistakes and living a reality that I don't want to be my reality. I learn from them. I get inspired from them. I get inspired from haters. I get inspired from jealous people. I get inspired from, destructive people. Life is my inspiration.
Wow, that's beautiful.